ready to rumble. As advertised, the grounds crew worked very quickly at South Ripley. Maybe not this quickly, but they got the job done in as timely of a fashion as possible. So while it is still Forrest G. Waters Field at St. Elizabeth Ballpark, it has been flipped from baseball to softball. Now the ladies' turn between Rising Sun and South Ripley here on the ISC Sports Network. Thank you so much for joining us. Joined by the very proud superintendent of South Ripley Community Schools, and Rob Moorhead. My name is Greg Rakestraw. Thank you for joining us. And what has been a marathon day, but a labor of love continues. You got one more game left in you, partner?
We can do it, Rake. You are carrying me on these broadcasts, and I appreciate it. But it has been a marathon day, and this project has been somewhat of a marathon to bring it to fruition. Having said that, we did it in record time, really. It hadn't even been a year since we got the call that our field had been chosen. But I cannot say enough kind things about that crew of individuals that took care of that mound in between games, and also got the temporary fence put up in the outfield to make this playable for softball. I feel like my contributions were minimal as I picked second base up and moved it up to its new location, so that's about all I contributed. But, Greg, I want to give a shout-out again to Jeff Cornett, to Rick Fry and Brian Myers. They are our building maintenance supervisors. Jeff is our buildings and grounds director. Principal Derek Hutton, they organized that group. And then it was the baseball and softball parents that got out there, the dads that got out there to help. And you saw that very last piece. He had 6 guys start to pick that up, and they put it right back down because they needed 2 or 3 more. That one was a heavy, heavy piece to get moved off the field.
You are putting the super in both the superintendent and supervisory role in terms of the switch over time. Now, you and I were talking about this. For those that, again, aren't familiar, that are watching this for the first time on ISC, this has been the baseball home for nearly 6 decades with different upgrades, et cetera. Softball has played on the other side of campus, on the other side of the building, and frankly, they have played their home games even this year at that facility up until right now. So what is it like for these ladies now to kind of step up and play their games here on the turf?
They're excited about it. I was talking to some of them beforehand, and they are really looking forward to getting their opportunity to play here on the turf. They will have multiple more opportunities throughout the season, but that is our softball facility that you mentioned, and it's actually, Greg, instantly enough, that is not on school property. That is on the property of Ohio Rod Products, or Elgin Fasteners as it's called. They have been our neighbors here at South Ripley back since I was in high school in the 80s, and they are just fantastic neighbors. That at one time was a community. Pardon me, Rake.
Rob's getting choked up at the great job that the community has done in supporting him today.
Well,
or he's out of voice after talking all day long.
It's
one of the two.
Maybe a little bit of both. But I was going to say, that field where we play our home softball games on now was actually a community field. I played a lot of church league softball over there back in the day, and there was a lot of softball leagues played over there. But several years ago, Ohio Rod said, hey, if you guys would like to use this for your varsity baseball field or varsity softball field, we would love for you to do that. And we have partnered together for maintenance on the facilities. We built a brand new press box over there for them last year, put in new bleachers, redid some concrete there. Their dugouts were actually built new before these baseball dugouts were built new. So we've invested a lot in that facility. That facility will continue to be the main home for the Raiders softball program, but they will play over here on special occasions as well. And basically, whenever they ask to play here, as long as we can make it work from a scheduling standpoint, we want them to get as much use of this field as they possibly can. And we're excited about that. And hopefully, Greg, this would be an opportunity to host softball tournaments here as well, softball sectional maybe even, if we could make that happen.
All right, so again, we documented this during the baseball game. For the baseball dimensions, the turf goes out to what would be the end of the infield. Then it's a grass outfield. Obviously, for those that, again, don't follow us on a regular basis, base paths are 90 in baseball, 60 in softball. The circle is 43 feet in terms of the pitching rubber, not a mound, versus 60. In other words, the seam between infield and outfield is kind of about a third of the way back to the outfield. Temporary fence, 200 feet from home plate here at, Forrest G. Waters Field.
Correct. So what, Greg, as we look and guesstimate, it's probably from the edge of that turf infield to that outfield fence is probably about 50 more feet, maybe a little bit more than that. So, yeah, I think you'll see sometimes the outfielders are going to be posted up on the turf even depending on how deep they're playing on a particular hitter. So it's going to be different as where, the majority, it's kind of half and half on the baseball field in terms of how much is played on the grass and how much is played on the turf. Here, the majority of the action is going to happen on the turf in this ball game.
Both teams came in on the baseball game with similar records. Rising Sun 5-3, South Ripley 5-1. For those that weren't with us, Rising Sun won that game by a score of 6-2. Record's a little different here in this contest. Rising Sun, perennially a power in softball in 1A. They are 7-4, and they're undefeated in Ohio River Valley Conference play so far. For South Ripley, been a bit of a struggle so far. They've hit the ball exceedingly well. Giving up runs has been the issue. Raiders come in at 1-7. Some about the young ladies and coaching staff that make up this South Ripley program.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a rebuild for us this year, Greg. The coach is Ashley Sweeney. Ashley is in her first year with us as our head softball coach. Ashley, interestingly enough, is a native of Rising Sun and played in the Rising Sun softball program back in the day. She works for us here as a paraprofessional in our high school, and when the job opened up this past year, she put her name in the hat and was selected. Celie Hyatt, a former Raider athlete, is one of our assistant coaches, along with Brittany Miller. Brittany Miller, an athlete from South Ripley back in the day as well. Both those ladies also worked for us here in the school. We do have 4 seniors on the club with Emma Height, Ava Baston, Taylor Jordan, and Kelly Lorem that kind of lead the way. 3 juniors are Zoe Clowers, Adeline Prather, and Ellie Combs. Our sophomores, it's a talented sophomore class. There are some injuries there, including one Addison Siebold, who got hurt back during the basketball season. Ella Ali, Peyton Linville, Layla Collins, Jada Hardig, and Lori Bellinger round out our sophomores, and then one freshman dressing on the varsity is Lexi Bowling. So it's a little bit of a rebuild this year. They're getting used to a new coach, getting used to a new program, but I will tell you this, these girls will give it all they got. They will compete, and I think you'll see some good fundamental-based softball out of them.
And they'll be amped up for the stage and for this occasion tonight. Ellie Combs in the circle, one of 3 pitchers that has seen action for South Ripley this season. She has thrown 10 2/3 innings, 13 earned runs. She has walked 13. She has struck out 10. Lily Courtney will lead things off for the Shiners. Starting center fielder, batting north of 400 with 4 runs batted in this year.
I like these Raider uniforms, Rake. I got to throw that in there. I love the green with the white pinstripes. I think they look sharp, and then you see that white catcher's gear. I think that's a really good look.
Here's Courtney. See the sun setting again. Field faces to the southwest here at South Ripley. Lights have been turned on. You know, our buddy Howard Kelman, because he is both of our friends.
Absolutely.
Famous for saying at this beautiful downtown ballpark. This is more suburban Versailles than being downtown proper. But still not far away from the historic square in City Center.
We'll call it the greater Versailles area here.
Fair enough. That works. And Courtney, first pitch, turns on this one down the right field side, and able to make the play is the right fielder again, right on that seam between the turf and the grass, and there's quickly one down.
Nice play out there in right field. She did a good job staying with it. No problem. She is posted up in the turf, Rake, as she starts. That took her back a little bit into the grass area.
So for the second consecutive game, the shortstop of the Shiners has the last name of America. This is Reese. She's batting second. Cooper on the boys' side batted first. Reese with 9 runs batted in, 2 home runs, and batting .250. Yeah, that misses.
It's fun to see the conversion, Rake. You see the bases here at the 60-foot mark, and at one time we had talked about putting the SR logo between the pitcher's mound in baseball and second base, but as you can see where second base is for softball, that would have put that base right on the logo, so we didn't want to do that. We moved that logo back behind home plate, where I think it looks very nice and keeps the field looking clean and pristine.
And that misses the zone.
A little wild here in the early going. Hopefully Ellie will get settled in here.
And again, in this sport, even more so than baseball, you got to have pitching. If your pitching struggles in softball, you are really behind the 8 ball. Swinging at 3-0. This one popped up. Third baseman drifts over. And again, part of that is getting used to playing here. And Rob, you got to help me. I would assume a little more room in foul territory here than at the park across the way?
Definitely, it is. There's definitely more foul ground here. And, yeah, that would have been well behind the fence on the traditional softball field.
This went into the netting, and we'll do it full count 3-2.
Quick bat for Reese Merica, the senior. She gets through that strike zone very quickly.
And this is a conference game between these two squads. And this one lined. Fair ball into left field. Merica makes the turn, going to try to leg it into two and have herself a stand-up double.
Yeah, nice job by Merica. She turned on that one, got it in between third and short and down that left field line. And she didn't hesitate, Greg. She turned first base looking for a double, and nice job by Reese.
For Merica, that is her third double of the season. So 1 on and 1 out. Ryan works the left fielder now to the plate. Batting .429, a home run, and 8 runs batted in. It's the outside corner for a strike. I want to thank our ISC Sports Network crew working along with Fun Day. Thanks to Elton Wheeler, Elijah Mash, Greg Sharton, Dalton Cox, Matthew Stein, Matt Badiato, Charlie Hammock, and Vince Morales. This one hops past the catcher, and again, if there's more room in foul territory, there's more room behind home plate as well.
Definitely is. Most definitely is. And that's going to be an adjustment for these girls on this field.
Count it 1-1.
Rick, you're talking about the crew, and I was impressed at how impressed Charlie Frank was from the Reds Community Fund, and also Phil Castellini with the quality of the production, as they could see the monitor here when they were here visiting with us. And to do a 4-camera shoot at a high school softball and baseball game, that's pretty impressive.
Count it 1-2. Popped up. Again, third baseman trying to figure out exactly how much room is left, and still struggling to kind of figure out, all right, I've got this much space to go track this down.
Yeah, there is a lot of room in that foul territory on both sides. And when you get past the dugouts, Rake, even additional room over there in foul ground.
Especially in right field.
Yes.
There is. As this one is fouled in our general direction, as that'll reach the stands. You know, you could put a starter home down the extra foul territory you have in right field here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where the suites go in for future use. Just so you know.
Definitely. We'll be getting some plans made on that and try to get those built. Going to take some more donations, Rake, so you might have to buy a couple of bricks.
Count it 1-2. Behind the batter at the plate and able to score on the wild pitch is Merica. 1-0 for Rising Sun.
Yeah, manufactured run there for the Shiners. Merica legging out the double and then able to score on the wild pitch there. That's what Rising Sun's looking for to get off to a good start in this ball game.
Count it 2-2. Lifted. Second baseman backing up, has a beat on that one and couldn't make the play.
Yeah, Raiders their own worst enemy here in the first inning. Giving Rising Sun, giving a good ball club some extra chances here. Zoe got underneath that one, but had a little spin on it. You could tell when it hit her glove, Greg.
Here's Titkemeyer that comes to the plate. One of 2 pitchers that has seen time, and she is the ace. And I mentioned the conference game for a particular reason. You're going to see your best pitcher in a conference game. Runner goes. Throw down to second base. Gets into center field, but no further advance.
Yeah, good backup there to keep the runner from getting any further.
So a stolen base. Last year, Rising Sun went 18-6, won a perfect 10-0 in league play. Their season ended by Milan in the sectional round last year.
Another conference school that has a tremendous softball program. Coach Yahtzee Roysden has done a nice job building that Milan softball program. Just ran into Yahtzee yesterday over in Milan and said he's got the girls playing well. They went down to Murfreesboro, Tennessee and played in a early season tournament rake and did really well down there.
Ball got away from the catcher and Works will advance on to third base. And the softball season starts a week earlier than the baseball season does. And frankly, part of that is the fact that the girls' basketball season ends 4 weeks before the boys' basketball season does.
Right. And, you know, we talked about the fact that allowed these girls to be the first ones to get out here and start practicing on this new facility. When it was still wet early in the spring and they couldn't get on their regular field, Greg, they were able to get out here and start taking ground balls and start having practice that allowed them to get a little jump start on the season.
Here's Vicki Erickson. 3 home runs and 14 runs batted in for the right fielder. And she's not bunting. That was a pure take to allow the runner to take second base. But Erickson likely to swing for both fences in our setup here at Forrest G. Waters Field. You know, it's kind of like the state finals in basketball at Gamebridge where there are multiple three-point lines.
Yes.
Kind of same thing with multiple fences.
I've always looked at that at Gamebridge, and you probably see it on the TV broadcast, just how many of those high school guys end up shooting from behind the college three-point line on the Gamebridge court.
That one in the vicinity of the ISC Sports Network van. And the count goes to 1-2.
Hope everybody in the van is all right, Rake.
I'm told it actually ricocheted off of my car, actually.
I thought maybe they were just pulling your leg on
because
that.
in the risk reward of parking close or getting hit by a foul ball, I think you should, leave some things to chance in life and park close and see what happens. I'll get my steps in other ways.
I hope that works out for you.
I've only lost one window over the years at a baseball or a softball.
Is that right?
Correct. Greenfield Central. Popped up. Third baseman has it. No advance, 2 down. And I realized that as I was getting on I-70. I go, man, something sounds odd. Look back and I go,
that'll do
I
it.
got half a convertible back here. Okay,
There
great.
you go.
Let's go home. Let's see what happens.
Good shot of Kelly Lorem there after she made that catch for the Raiders. The senior third baseman. Raiders, they get out of this inning, Greg, only giving up 1 run. I think they take that.
Here's Emily Oatman, second baseman. 4 runs batted in. Ball gets away.
Trouble.
Could be a play at the plate. Throw, tag. Got her.
Indeed.
And again, that padded backstop, sometimes it's going to give you a bit of a different carom. So, not the way you envision the third out of the inning, but you'll take it. And Rob's point is well made. Find a way to manufacture that third out. 1-0 Shiners. Raiders come to bat when we come back on ISC.
The goal isn't graduation day. It's a better every day after. It's the first day in your new career. Your first pay raise. The 5th day of that week-long vacation. It's the first paid holiday home with your family. Or the day of your last car loan payment. Much sooner than you thought. At Ivy Tech Community College, we don't just care about your degree. We care about your life. Let's get started at ivytech.edu.
At South Ripley, our people, I think, are what set us apart. They're kind, they're caring, they're compassionate, they're empathetic. They are going to do everything they can to remove any possible obstacles to allow students to learn to the best of their ability, and I believe that's what we're all about.
When we received STEM certification, we had the highest score on the rubric ever, only to be topped by our junior high. So we had the 2 highest scores in the state for STEM certification, and that all comes from the teachers. The teachers are the boots on the ground. They have the best interests of our students in mind, and they work tirelessly to create those pathways for our kids to be successful.
It's really nice being here in a small community. Some people might disagree and say, oh, big communities are better, there's more to do, but I really truly believe that small communities are better.
It's always a great day to be a Raider.
Peyton Linville will step to the plate for South Ripley. Titkemeyer, the pitcher for Rising Sun. Record 4-3. She has thrown 46 in the 3rd innings, and here's the stat line that makes me smile, Rob. 9 walks. She has struck out 68 batters in 46 in the 3rd innings.
Wow, that's impressive. And Peyton steps in, Greg, after making a really nice play to end that inning. Peyton's the catcher for South Ripley, and she was able to field that carom kick it back to Combs, who covered home plate on the wild pitch and able to get out of a situation where Rising Sun had 2 in scoring position there with 2 outs.
First 6 batters for the Raiders have been batting 300 or better. Now, the fastball they are seeing tonight has a little more giddy up behind it.
Yeah.
And the count goes to 0-2.
You can just see the difference in the first couple of pitches is how much more quickly the ball's getting to the plate coming off the arm of Titkemeyer.
And swing and a miss. And for Elena, watching her games on the ISC Sports Network is something she should get used to. She's heading to play at Indiana Wesleyan University next year. In fact, they were playing host to Marion. I think they got rained out up in Marion, Indiana, at Indiana Wesleyan.
Okay.
Not at Marion University today. Those teams both should be postseason teams.
And you guys cover them quite a bit.
So we cover Marion on a regular basis. We actually now do some things for Indiana Wesleyan as well.
Nice.
There's a fact I might be doing some NAI regional softball up there at IWU in a couple of weeks.
That's awesome, Rick.
Flowers misses that.
She's bringing it.
Zoe, the second baseman, 8 runs batted in. And a swing and a miss. And there's 2 down. You know, you and I have been doing this long enough from a broadcast standpoint, being around high school athletes. There's certain players that you see about, in this case, a handful of pitches, or like in basketball, a couple of moves, couple of shots, and you go, yeah, this person's going to be playing past this point. That's I'm watching her pitch, and I'm like, I want to type in and find out exactly where she's playing next year, and no doubt.
No doubt about it. She's a talented young lady, a lively arm. And so far, Greg, we've seen she's got pinpoint control as well.
Here's Combs. That one misses high. Combs with 4 runs batted in. Pitcher today batting .375. And right now, it's you know, in the mix, it's just throw the one until somebody does something with it.
Todd Listerman behind the plate tonight, calling balls and strikes. Todd does a lot of officiating in the area.
Count of 1-2. You know, there are certain sports we talk about an officiating crunch. Frankly, softball is not one of them. This is frankly a very popular sport to do. How about baseball umpires here? How you dealing on that front?
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Okay.
It is. And, you know, we were talking about that just this week, especially when it comes junior high baseball. Sometimes it's difficult to get adult umpires, and we've used some players to help in that because you want to keep those games going. But that's not the best scenario because you're putting those high school students in a difficult position.
Swing and a miss. Well, striking out the side was Rising Sun in their half of the first inning. To the top of the second we go. Shiners a 1-run lead as you're watching on ISC.
The goal isn't graduation day. It's a better everyday after. It's the first day in your new career. Your first pay raise. The 5th day of that week-long vacation. It's the first paid holiday home with your family. Or the day of your last car loan payment. Much sooner than you thought. At Ivy Tech Community College, we don't just care about your degree, we care about your life. Let's get started at ivytech.edu.
At South Ripley, our people, I think, are what set us apart. They're kind, they're caring, they're compassionate, they're empathetic. They are going to do everything they can to remove any possible obstacles to allow students to learn to the best of their ability, and I believe that's what we're all about.
When we received STEM certification, we had the highest score on the rubric ever, only to be topped by our junior high. So we had the 2 highest scores in the state for STEM certification, and that all comes from the teachers. The teachers are the boots on the ground. They have the best interests of our students in mind, and they work tirelessly to create those pathways for our kids to be successful.
It's really nice being here in a small community. Some people might disagree and say, oh, big communities are better, there's more to do, but I really truly believe that small communities are better.
It's always a great day to be a Raider.
So Oatman to the plate. She was at the plate when Works was thrown out trying to advance on the wild pitch, so her at bat restarts. 6, 7, and 8. Elliott and Morris follow her to the dish. Shiners trying to again run their league record to 4-0.
When you see Titkemeyer on the mound for the Shiners, Rake, you know it puts a lot of pressure here on the South Ripley defense. They know they're going to have to keep this game close in the field because it's going to be hard to get to Titkemeyer.
Rising Suns losses at Lawrenceburg 5-4. Played Yorktown, who plays a predominantly 4A schedule. They got swept in a doubleheader. Rising Suns' other loss was at Greensburg. Shiners do have a 4A win as they went to New Albany and won 7-6 a couple of weekends ago.
Nice
Off
pitch.
speed in for a strike.
Yeah, Ellie painted that one right where she needed to on 3-0. Rake, what do you think of the ABS in Major League Baseball?
Love it. Speeds up the game. Ball popped up, and so it's free softball night in the crowd. So I was there on opening day at Great American Ballpark. Usually I go to one game a year, and that's the one that a great buddy of mine, we set aside the day, go hang out in Cincinnati, et cetera, on opening day each year. And we've seen that. We had ISC produce the Indianapolis Indians game in half of the last few years, and so we've seen it at lower levels. I think it works very well as Oatman draws the walk to put the leadoff runner aboard for the first time for the Shiners. I'm all for speeding the game up.
Do you see a day, I just foresee in the future where the home plate umpire may be back there, but that all the balls and strikes are called by ABS?
It's potential. Runner goes, throw down, and it is a stolen base. Second such steal of a non-wild pitch so far for Rising Sun.
Interesting to see Oatman go in head first. And again, there are other places where they have turf, but I don't think they probably play a great deal on that. And figuring out that head first slide on the turf, probably a little bit different.
Elliott 308, 4 runs batted in. First baseman for Rising Sun. Count it 1-1. Lexi Morris, the DP, awaits on deck. Popped up, and again, this will reach the seats.
Rake, we've had more foul balls in softball go into the stands than we had in the entire baseball game. We're in the top of the second.
That's correct. Count it 1-2. Well, I think the baseball players, and this benefited us, given the fact that it's a long day, they were in the impression that they were running the facility today because they were swinging it for. It was like a go-home day for those guys.
They were swinging early in counts.
Again, this will reach the seats.
The bottom of the first for South Ripley in that first game in the baseball game, 3 pitches, and they swung at the first pitch, and all of them were outs.
We may need to go to banana ball rules in terms of catching foul balls here in the game.
Please elaborate.
So, Savannah Bananas, if a fan catches a foul ball, that's an out.
Is that right?
Yeah, well, again, it's not real. They're the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, so nobody cares the outcome of the game. But, yes, that's how it's played. Turned on this one. Left fielder drifting back into foul territory, makes the basket catch. And, again, I thought it was a borderline tag with the play in front of her. Nowhere for Oatman to go. Well done by Jordan in left field. There's one down.
Yeah, Taylor played that ball really well. Came in able to scoop it and get under it before it hit the ground, and nice play for the Raiders. Taylor Jordan, a senior here on the softball team.
Lexi Morris, you've had a good start to your season when your 8-hitter through 11 games has 6 runs batted in. So 1 on and 1 out. At the knees for a strike. Shiner's doing a good job. Obviously, you can't leave the base path until Well, where it kind of gets to leave the base, and it's much different in softball than baseball. They're getting a good kind of secondary lead at the end of the pitch.
Yeah, Oatman does a really good job making the catcher have to take a look at that. That's where they want you to throw that ball, kind of the way it happened in the baseball game in that last inning for the Raiders in the bottom of the seventh, and they didn't have any runs, and the Raiders forced him to make a bad throw to second and allowed 2 runs to score.
Counted 0-2. High and in tight. Swing and a miss. First strikeout authored by Combs. She had 10 of those in 10 2/3 innings coming in, and there's 2 down.
Yeah, Elliott did a nice job going up in the strike zone that time. You'll see it here on the replay. She went high with it, and nice job getting the strikeout.
Strike called. Lone win coming in for the Raiders. Came against the Twisters of Oldenburg Academy a couple of weeks ago. Won that game 14-4. Off the hands, shortstop Fields fires to first, and the inning is over. And Shiners get a leadoff walk, but do nothing with it. Through 1.5 at Forrest G. Waters Field at St. Elizabeth Ballpark. Rising Sun 1, South Ripley nothing on ISC.
McCulling in time.
The goal isn't graduation day. It's a better everyday after. It's the first day in your new career. Your first pay raise. The 5th day of that week-long vacation. It's the first paid holiday home with your family. Or the day of your last car loan payment. Much sooner than you thought. At Ivy Tech Community College, we don't just care about your degree. We care about your life. Let's get started at ivytech.edu.
Look out towards right field. Forrest G. Waters Field, the previous name of the field. And again, for those that were not with us in the opening game, St. Elizabeth Healthcare, one of the community partners that frankly makes this field possible. And in the baseball game, we had a great litany of guests that joined us, including the CEO of St. Elizabeth Healthcare, to talk about their role in partnering with the Reds on this venture.
Garen Colvin, just a fantastic gentleman. And Rake, I'm telling you, Garen was out there working every bit as hard as any volunteer that was here and helping get that windscreen put up during the community service portion today. And I talked to him about that when we had him on here. He didn't dive into it very much, but I asked him out in the outfield there. I said, Garen, I said, talk about leadership from a CEO. He goes, I just love baseball. And he said, I love these field projects, and this is a fun opportunity for me to be out here and be a part of what's going on. And what an example it sets for the associates at St. Elizabeth to see the CEO out there working side by side with them.
Kelly Lorem, the third baseman at the plate now for South Ripley, 4, 5, and 6. And again, they've been consistently behind that fastball, that rise ball from the future pitcher at the NAI level. And again, for those that and maybe in this area aren't as familiar with Indiana Wesleyan in that league, that is a really good level of college athletics of all sports. Swing and a miss. I saw one gentleman with a Marian University hat here earlier that was at the game.
Yeah, America is pitching a gem here so far. 4 batters up and 4 strikeouts so far in the ball game.
So here's Bowling. Bowling with 3 runs batted in, had batting .377. Starting shortstop.
First pitch strikes are always a big deal, Rake.
Yeah, we're in forget the curveball, throw in the heater mode at this point. Just keep firing in there until somebody does something with it. Again, offense really hasn't been the issue for South Ripley this year, but they're facing a pitcher of the type they probably haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I
this
think
season.
you're right about that.
Put up 16 runs to the Raiders in a loss to Edinburgh. Put up 14 in that win against Oldenburg. Only shut out once. That was by Lawrenceburg. Put up 12 against Southwestern in their latest loss, which was on Wednesday. South Ripley makes the trip to Seymour to take on Trinity Lutheran on Thursday. Slated to host Jacksonville on Friday. Swing and a miss. Forecast, I know, in the Indianapolis area is not great for Friday. It may be the same down here, I would assume.
That's kind of what we're seeing, and you heard Phil Castellini talking about that as well, saying hopefully, they got a big weekend there at Cincinnati with Hall of Fame weekend. He's saying he hopes the weather will cooperate and allow everything to get in. I hope Friday night does, Ray, because I'm supposed to go to the game on Friday night in Cincinnati.
There's a little contact. Third baseman knocks it down. Can she make the play? Yes. So first ball in play hit by a South Ripley player, but a sixth consecutive out authored by Titkemeyer. So through 2, 1-0. Rising Sun leads it. You're watching on ISC.
At South Ripley, our people, I think, are what set us apart. They're kind, they're caring, they're compassionate, they're empathetic. They are going to do everything they can to remove any possible obstacles to allow students to learn to the best of their ability, and I believe that's what we're all about.
When we received STEM certification, we had the highest score on the rubric ever, only to be topped by our junior high. So we had the 2 highest scores in the state for STEM certification, and that all comes from the teachers. The teachers are the boots on the ground. They have the best interests of our students in mind, and they work tirelessly to create those pathways for our kids to be successful.
It's really nice being here in a small community. Some people might disagree and say, oh, big communities are better, there's more to do, but I really truly believe that small communities are better.
It's always a great day to be a Raider.
Beautiful look to our south and west. Kentucky's over there someplace. Greg Rakestraw, Rob Moore. I was pleasantly surprised. Now, I broke it up, because some of our crew met at the Universal Meeting Place to get to southeastern Indiana, which would be Fairland Road, exit 109, ample parking.
Okay.
I was pleasantly surprised how quickly I was able to make it without breaking any land speed records to get to lovely Versailles today.
I'm going to guess, did it route you off at Greensburg to come down this way?
Well, some of us are human GPS, and so I didn't even look. But yes, I got off at 421 at Greensburg and shot 421 straight down.
That's the best way.
Yes, it is.
Occasionally a GPS will route you to the New Point exit, and then you double back, come across County Line Road. But the way you get off there at 421 is the best way, the quickest way to get here from Indy.
I leave the double back to the good folks at ZZ Top. I go straight my own way, and we're fine. Count it 0-2.
ZZ Top.
It's rarely that's really the song called back for ZZ Top, but thanks for setting me up for that.
I laid that one right in there for you.
Combs did the opposite at 0-2. She kept that away from Courtney, and the count now 1-2. Courtney, a fly ball to right. First batter of the game. Good eye.
It was, because Courtney hesitated on that, Greg. You can tell she thought about it, but she held off. That was just a little bit outside.
Ground ball. Second baseman's got it. Quick toss, and after a couple of shaky plays in the first inning, fielders now have kind of settled in here for South Ripley.
Yeah, Zoe Clowers, fundamental on the way she handled that one. Flipped it over to Emma Height to get the out. And, Raiders cut down the first batter. Again, the defense is going to be a key here when you're facing a pitcher like you are in Titkemeyer.
America doubled her first time up. Popped this one up foul.
Another bleacher ball. Rake, in high school, you don't get to play a ton of games under the lights, but man, this field is really pretty under the lights tonight.
Well, I sent some pictures via social media, some friends, et cetera, and people started commenting immediately on the tree line in left and center, how cool that is.
It is. Yeah, back in the day, our cross-country course actually went through that tree line.
Yep.
And that's all South Ripley property back there. And now we run our cross-country meets over there on the Ohio Rod property, but that was always kind of cool. Your last, quarter mile, you were coming through those trees and then making the turn for the stretch run to the finish.
So America hit by the pitch.
Now batting the left fielder.
Second time she has reached today.
Works.
Here's Works. Works reached on an error. Pop-up drop by the second baseman. She'd be thrown out trying to score on a wild pitch at home.
You know, something kind of unique here, Rake, that I've talked about a lot of times, maybe mentioned in the first broadcast. We had high school principal Derek Hutton on earlier. Derek's an alumnus of South Ripley. Our junior high principal, Melanie Evans, also a South Ripley graduate. Our elementary principal, which you see featured prominently. Look at that poke. That's going foul, though.
That is a very impressive long hit strike.
Left fielder's going to chase that one down. Taylor Jordan going to go way out to get that one, bring it back in. But so Melanie's also a South Ripley High School graduate. All right, we mentioned her. And then Ryan Lauber, who's featured prominently in our commercial that's running here, South Ripley High School graduate, and his assistant, Chris Wood, is a South Ripley High School graduate. So along with myself, the entire admin team, South Ripley graduates. Not that we planned it that way, but it's just how it worked out. And we're proud of that. It kind of gives us a little extra buy-in as alums to the things that are going on here at South Ripley.
Count now at 1-2. This one will also turn foul.
Yeah, but Works has looked really good on a couple of those swings, Greg.
Just a matter of timing it out. And did not make solid contact the first time. A little flare pop up to second base. Not been a problem here. And again, what was a couple of club wind earlier, as it does when the sun sets, is completely gone away.
Mentioned Ryan Lauber. Ryan's our on-site tech guru as well, and he's got a drone that he's flying around here tonight, getting us some pictures of the overhead. I asked Ryan if he would do that for us, and got some during the baseball game, during the ceremony, and then stuck around to get some under the lights. Again, we don't get to play a ton under the lights, but to see this facility under the lights tonight, we wanted to make sure we documented that with some video from his drone.
Just inside, full count.
I feel like I hear it somewhere above
I hear it
there
as well, yep. And ball 4. So with Meyer and Erickson coming up, could be a chance for a big inning here for the Shiners.
Now batting the pitcher, Elena Kickemeyer.
You know, it's interesting, Greg, when you partner with the Reds, the attention that gets from the Cincinnati area media. And we've had a large contingent of media come out. Tanya O'Rourke from Channel 9 came out and did a story that aired on Tuesday. Channel 12 was here today. Tyler was here from Channel 12, did a story, and also did a live hit with me right before the ceremony started. That one may be gone. Rich.
Down the left field line, looking up, and again, that ball just turned foul. That missed a home run by about a foot and missed a double or a triple by about an inch. Take a look. Watch where the ball lands. Just to the left. And that clearly cleared defense. If that had came down in fair territory, that was a home run.
So Titkemeyer, not only a fantastic pitcher, but she's got some drive with the bat as well.
That gets away from the catcher. Free 60 feet. And now a base hit would likely score 2.
But WKRC Channel 12 doing that story was fantastic today. We did a live hit at 4 o'clock, and they posted a story as well. 700 WLW has covered it. Channel 5 News out of Cincinnati has covered it. And that's rare here in Southeast Indiana, Rake. We don't get that a lot.
Ball got away from the catcher, but not far enough for advance. 2-2. Well, frankly, you know, you are from here, as you talked about, and this reminds me so much of growing up on the other side of the river from Louisville, as I did, where sometimes you think the big city you're attached to doesn't pay attention to you enough.
Yep.
That misses. I did send a note to my WLWT sports sources and say, hey, are you coming to the game today? And he shot me a picture of his 8-month-old. Okay, you win, that's fine. get that.
Charlie Clifford, a good man.
Former IHSAA Sports Network play-by-play guy. And ball 4. So the base is loaded now without benefit of a base hit.
You talked about Charlie, Greg. I think I shared this story with you, but Lisa, my wife, and I like to go to Bengals games on the road. We pick a city every year and go watch the Bengals on the road. And we had seen them in Dallas a couple of years ago, and we were in the Dallas airport.
This one, up the middle. Second baseman able to knock it down, but couldn't make it play any of the bases. Sometimes the game gets away the stories, my friend. Single makes it 2-0 for Rising Sun. Please continue.
No, Zoe did a great job right there, Zoe Clowers, on keeping that ball in the infield, only giving up the 1 run. But I saw Charlie standing across the way there. We had the same flight coming back in the Dallas airport after that Bengals game. And, of course,
this one lifted to left field. Left fielder coming in. Makes the play. Runner does tag from third. Throw comes in. Could be a play at third. Got her. So, out at the base. That's the end of the inning. However, run does score on the tag up first. So, inning is over. Make it 3-0 Rising Sun. Going to the bottom half of the third. I promise Rob gets to finish his Charlie Clifford story at some point on the IHSAA Sports Network.
The goal isn't graduation day. It's a better every day after. It's the first day in your new career. Your first pay raise. The 5th day of that week-long vacation. It's the first paid holiday home with your family. Or the day of your last car loan payment. Much sooner than you thought. At Ivy Tech Community College, we don't just care about your degree. We care about your life. Let's get started at ivytech.edu.
Hello. We had this camera here when somebody was sitting in this chair for most of the first game. Greg Rakestraw, Rob Moorhead with you on the IHSAA Sports Network. 3-0 lead for Rising Sun. Thanks for having us down today, by the way. This has been fun.
Thank you for making the trip and your crew for making the trip. Again, just one more piece that has made this day so special. And being able to send out to our community and our Raider fans that many Raider fans that are no longer in our community and able to allow them to join in on the festivities today as well, Greg. And really appreciate ISC for being here.
Now, I have heard legendary stories about Raider Nation over the years. Usually it's a different Raider Nation.
Yeah.
Yours follow laws a bit better normally.
I would like to think so, yes.
Maybe cleaner legal records than others. Although, do you feel the same about Fernando Mendoza, likely?
I'm a Fernando Mendoza fan, and he'll be playing for the Raiders most likely after tomorrow night, right? I mean, that's
kind of the general idea.
NFL draft tomorrow night, so.
Here's Ava Baston, center fielder, 3 runs batted in this season. And the song remains the same.
Yeah, just
pumping the gas until somebody does something with it.
No, back to my Charlie Clifford story, because kind of talking about the NFL draft brings us back to the Bengals. And so we're in the Dallas airport, and my wife calls me Joe Hoosier because I will talk to anybody at any time as there's strike 3. And
6 for Elena through 7 batters faced, 1 down.
So I saw Charlie over there, and Lisa knew I was going to go say hello, so I did. And told him I enjoyed watching him on Channel 5 News, and as we struck up a conversation, before long we realized we had a common connection, and that was one Greg Rakestraw. And I think Charlie and I took a selfie, and we both sent it to you, if I recall correctly.
You did. I'm a really low-rent version of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Now, the guy that we both know that is the guy that's on the other side of that would be Pete Smith.
Absolutely.
Because it's 1 degree of Pete. Everybody knows Pete.
Yes.
Kind of want to know. Here's Adeline Prey through the right fielder.
Yeah, Charlie's a good guy, and we've stayed in touch somewhat. Would have loved to have had them come out today, but I know everyone's got lots of stories they're trying to cover this time of year. So, and plus the Reds had an afternoon game today, and that's part of it as well.
Swing and a miss. The DP and Layla Collins awaits in front of us on deck.
Getting a good look at these Raider batting helmets, not only on the screen there, but right in front of me with the on-deck circle. I really like those.
1-2. At the knees for a strike.
Yeah.
First backwards K variety.
Yeah, it's a good pitch by Tickemeyer. She put it right down there at the knee level. And that's what I've been so impressed with her tonight, Greg. She is pinpoint accurate with her control. You're going to get a great look at it from our center field camera.
And she came in averaging right at about a strikeout and a half per inning. She's going to pad that number tonight.
Yeah, I believe the Raiders have put it in play once so far, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And you watch her come off the rubber there, Ray. She just bounces off that rubber there in the pitching circle.
Counted 0-1. Just inside. Temperatures today for the boys game, upper 70s. Probably somewhere in the 60s now, but it is a perfect night. You must have done something right, partner, to get this weather day.
I hope to tell you, the wind has settled down a little too. During the afternoon, it was quite windy. A little bit so during the dedication ceremony, and then it kind of let up during most of the baseball game.
Count now at 1-2. Good job of laying off the riser. They'll ask, but no, just barely lifted the bat off of the shoulder.
Yeah, she certainly didn't break her wrists on that one. No swing there. You know, Rick, we look at that temporary fence out there. That was delivered off the truck today.
And that is that. 9 batters to the plate. 8 of them have been struck out. Good look at that fence. Been challenged a few times by Rising Sun. South Ripley trails 3-0 after 3 on ISC.
At South Ripley, our people, I think, are what set us apart. They're kind, they're caring, they're compassionate, they're empathetic. They are going to do everything they can to remove any possible obstacles to allow students to learn to the best of their ability, and I believe that's what we're all about.
When we received STEM certification, we had the highest score on the rubric ever, only to be topped by our junior high. So we had the 2 highest scores in the state for STEM certification, and that all comes from the teachers. The teachers are the boots on the ground. They have the best interests of our students in mind, and they work tirelessly to create those pathways for our kids to be successful.
It's really nice being here in a small community. Some people might disagree and say, oh, big communities are better, there's more to do, but I really truly believe that small communities are better.
It's always a great day to be a Raider.
A look at the temporary fence that is constructed for softball. Look at symmetrical 200 feet around from home plate. And you were amazed by the mathematicians from St. Elizabeth that figured this out earlier today.
They had some work to do on that, but some of the volunteers came out. That came off the truck today at about 11:30. Our volunteers got here shortly after noon. We gave them some lunch, and they unpacked the box, laid it out, and they started putting it together, and they got that temporary fence constructed and set up down the left field line, and we left it there during the baseball game, and then a team of parents and school personnel helped carry it out after the baseball game, and for the first time I've seen it, first time looking at it, it actually I think is going to work out all right.
I'll be interested to talk to the ladies of South Ripley after the game to go, all right, you know, you have the normal dirt, skin, and grass outfield for your usual facility. How'd you like playing on the turf in comparison? You know, do you have a preference? Because it's interesting, and again, as this one is lined foul, hit foul of the bag. So we'll do it again, that's a strike. You know, it is now common, and we were having this conversation, me and some of the crew guys on the way down. I'm not sure anybody plays football in Marion County on natural grass. I think everybody is turf.
I would bet you're right.
What you're now seeing is more baseball and softball fields that are completely turf at this point.
Yeah, Rake, when that craze was happening, if you will, of all the football fields going turf and schools getting those turf facilities, I remember thinking as a superintendent here, I doubt if we'll ever have any turf in our facilities at any time, since we're not a football school. But that's why this is just such a dream to see this, and without the Reds and St. Elizabeth, that doesn't happen. We've talked a lot about them, Rig, but there are a lot of other partners that came to the table on that. One of the commercials we're running tonight is for Ivy Tech Community College.
This one lifted to center field. Center fielder coming in, shortstop going out, and that will drop perfectly for a base hit.
Well placed that time by Elliott to get the base hit. But Ivy Tech Community College, one of our partners, they stepped up big in this particular project. The Duke Energy Foundation, they've been a partner with St. Elizabeth and the Reds on many of these field projects, and they did not hesitate to join in on this one as well, and we truly grateful for that. And then a couple of community foundations, the Ripley County Community Foundation and the Rising Sun Regional Foundation, both stepped up as supporters of the project. And those were kind of some of the ones I highlighted in my portion of the field dedication ceremony. Then I turned it over to Mr. Hutton to really talk about some of our other local business sponsors. And when you look around the facility, Greg, we've got signage up recognizing everyone who donated. It looks like we had some lights go out in right field. Not sure what happened there. I may be the only one who noticed that.
Ball lifted foul towards the parking lot.
I think we still have plenty of light to play with, but that right field bank of lights.
So is now the time when you call your friends at Southeastern REMC that you're about to mention in your notes?
What's going on here? Southeastern REMC is one of our fine sponsors, and we do appreciate them as well. I don't know if we had a fuse blow or something or what happened with that particular bank of lights. But also just looking down the list, and one of our local businesses, Rolling Pin Catering, they provided lunch today for our volunteers as well, but they stepped up, made a nice donation to our project. They're a local homegrown business here in the Versailles community. One of the fun ones we've talked about is that South Ripley 1981 baseball sectional champion team. And interestingly enough, I was a sophomore that year, and I was not on the varsity baseball team. So I was not technically a part of that sectional championship team, but boy, a lot of my friends and teammates that were here today and reconnecting with them was just a lot of fun. But Stan Lay, one of our players that year, as we get a walk here, rake to put a runner on base.
Now batting the third baseman.
Stan did a great job organizing our teammates to make donations. We laughed at Stan because he called me and asked me to make a donation. I said, Stan, I wasn't on that team. And he said, well, yeah, you were, Rob. I said, Stan, go look at the picture.
Line drive, shortstop makes the play. Throws to first, and unfortunately does not get it out at either location. Didn't get it to the bag in time in second. Did not make the throw properly to first. And what could have been 2, if not 1, turns into none and turns into a run for Rising Sun. Make it 4-0.
Yeah, I think Lexi was a little deeper maybe than she realized, unable to get to the second base bag, and unfortunately her throw pulled height off the bag at first, and Raiders find themselves trailing here 4-0. But no, Stan did a great job, and I said, Stan, I would love to make a donation, but I wasn't on the team. So, he goes, well, I'll Photoshop you in the picture if you want. But a lot of those guys, I think 10 of the guys off that team were here today, and we appreciated that. And then some other sponsors, you mentioned REMC Operation Roundup. They're a sponsor. Napoleon State Bank, Schutte Excavating, Gilpin Monuments, have all been great partners on this project. So that's why it was such a community celebration today, Rick.
So a meeting of the minds in the circle. Combs will continue on here. So runs in the first, third now, and fourth for Rising Sun. And a very potent club offensively. And the bad news for South Ripley is the fact that now the more potent top of the lineup rolls back through for Rising Sun.
Courtney.
So Courtney 0 for 2 today. Outside corner for a strike.
Yeah, 2 on, nobody out. This is a tough spot here for the Raiders. Already given up 1 run in this inning. Got to try to keep it close here.
Lifts this one. Left fielder coming in and can't make the play. 1 run will score. Second run being waved around. Throw not cut in time, and make it 6.
Yeah, Taylor Jordan had trouble finding that one out in left field. And that started the carousel for the Shiners.
Now batting the shortstop.
So give Courtney the RBI. She gets 2 of them there, in fact.
The Raiders in danger here of letting this one get out of hand. You're facing a pitcher like Tickemeyer.
And again, we do have the run rule. Got to play 5 for that to fully take effect. Had a softball game earlier this month that was 16-0 after an inning and a half. So
Oh, wow.
it does happen.
I bet a ton of walks were in that one.
No, not a ton of home runs. That was involving Hamilton Southeastern, who won the 4A championship 2 years ago, and their pitcher is committed to Virginia Tech. And then they have a freshman that hit 2 3-run homers in the game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Some talent has come through that program over the years.
Kind of sounds as such.
Yeah, 1-1 the count. America.
That's poke.
Hammers this one. Left
It's fair,
fielder
it's gone.
looks up. And that, I believe, clears the fence. They're going to say ground rule double. They're going to say it landed and went under the fence. Okay. So it is a double. Runner will score from second. Ground rule double. Let's take a look. And we're at ground level. We don't have the normal elevated view. And deemed to have bounced under the fence.
Okay.
So make it 7.
Right on that left field line, Greg. America hit too hard that way foul. There's another one. They are really turning right now on Combs. Yeah, the fundamentals in the Rising Sun girls swings, you can just see they are disciplined and skilled at the plate.
Popped her up. That should clear the netting. It does.
Just barely did.
Most runs that Rising Sun has had in a game this year, 13. They blanked Southwestern a week or so ago. This is their first game of the week. They played on Friday, beating Milan 11-7. And again, Works continues to dent some softballs, but frankly, she's losing softballs as well. They need to replenish the stash.
I believe that one made it over to the track, Rake. So in behind that big set of bleachers is our track.
Future home of South Ripley football.
There you go. We talked about the Tyson Fund, and a few years ago when it came time to resurface that track, we went to the Tyson Fund, and they stepped up and helped us considerably with that project as well.
Now, I know you do have the other type of football that soccer plays here. You thought about playing some of the matches here on the turf? You can do that.
It has been mentioned on what else could we do with this facility in the fall, and that's something that I think we would take a look at.
It'd be a hybrid, obviously, of grass and turf, but it is possible. Ground ball.
I'm not sure what the striping would have to be for the out. I mean, I know there's no yard lines like football, but I'm not sure what the striping would have to be for the boundaries.
You need to be able to make sure you can clear about 350-ish feet.
Yeah.
Is what you'd have to do. Width-wise, you got plenty of room. Wild pitch. America scampers over to third.
I do think there will be times when our soccer players, I should say, soccer teams are able to come out here and practice on these fields when you can't get on the field due to the weather. And I know soccer plays in all kinds of weather, but you also don't want to chew up the middle of your soccer field in those situations. So I do think that'll be a possibility here.
Popped up. Third baseman under it, makes the play. And there's one down. So first batter retired of 6 to the plate so far this inning.
Wasn't it bad, though, for Works that time? 3 really long foul balls and then ended up popping it up.
Another meeting here at the circle. Tutkemeyer at the plate.
It's just a player meeting this time, Rick. I don't see Coach Ashley Swinney out there. Todd Listerman was ready for that one to be broken up. He gave him a let's go green and move on.
Elena has reached both times, hit by a pitch and walked. Has a stolen base as well. And again, this one popped up. Pitcher makes the play, and you know, oftentimes in baseball, you say you want to get the pitcher out of the way. That's the case, but the way that ball is spinning, that's an easier play for her, and especially here when your pitchers are your infielders as well.
Yeah.
Combs quickly jumped on and made the play.
Yeah, Combs did a nice job coming to that, and she and Linville were in communication with one another, and Linville deferred to her from the jump on that one.
So here's Erickson. Singled her last time up, and that hit her. Yep.
Surely
So
did.
the runner that was going to try to score from third has to go back. And Rising Sun will bat around this inning as Oatman will come to the plate.
Yeah, Erickson's going to walk that one off down the first baseline there. That hurts. If I got her right on the top of that left foot.
Sacrifice fly for Oatman last time up. Her lone RBI of the game. Now has 5 on the season. And popped up again. Shortstop charging. Makes the play, and the inning is over. So through 3.5 here at South Ripley. 7-0 Shiners in front as you're watching on ISC.
The goal isn't graduation day. It's a better every day after. It's the first day in your new career, your first pay raise, the 5th day of that week-long vacation. It's the first paid holiday home with your family, or the day of your last car loan payment, much sooner than you thought. At Ivy Tech Community College, we don't just care about your degree, we care about your life. Let's get started at ivytech.edu.
Well, very aptly, there is a K in Elena's last name because she's had 8 of them in the circle in 9 batters faced. Again, we talked about she's heading to play at Indiana Wesleyan University next year. They're a perennial top 20 national program in NAI softball, and she has looked the part tonight.
Boy, that whip of the wrist when she releases that ball. There's some of the Raider baseball fans, Raider baseball players, I should say, and coaches that stuck around to support the softball team tonight. One of the things we pride ourselves here at South Ripley on, but going back to Titkemeyer, just seeing that strikeout package they rolled there, Greg, the way that ball whips out of her hand. I mean, when you look at her upper body and even through her lower body, it almost looks effortless, but man, you can see the torque generated when she whips that ball out of her hand on that right wrist.
Linville steps to the plate. Again, Elena's ready to go. She threw one warm-up pitch, said, I'm fine, let's go. And that is one of the differences in this sport versus baseball. You kind of have that minimum number of warm-up pitches. Usually it's 1 or 2. As you get past the first inning, it's just, hey, let's go. I'm lucky enough to broadcast the softball state finals most years, and we have to instruct the umpires, hey, don't restart until we get back from the commercial. we have to have somebody that's literally almost flagging down the third base umpire. Don't let them start until we get back. Baseball is not a problem. That's in for a strike. And again, knowing that contact has been tough to come by for the Raiders, Linville showed bunt just to try to somehow, some way generate something, which has drawn everybody but the second baseman in. Puts the bunt down. First baseman's got it. Second baseman covering. Put out 3-4, and there's 1 down.
Yeah, good job by Elliott getting there and Oatman taking her place in behind to get the out. Good fundamentals right there by Rising Sun on the defensive side.
Here's Clowers.
Now batting will be the second baseman, Zoe.
Rake, you were probably wondering when and how I was going to work this in, but I'm going to have a renewed interest in the MIC coming up this year as you and ISC cover a ton of MIC
I'm going to say, yeah, ISCSportsNetwork.com is your friend. Swing and a miss. So I had to go on JMV's show last Tuesday and answer questions about the Center Grove coaching opening without revealing the fact that I knew one of the interviewees for the job. I think I talked around that very well. And there's a swing and a miss. In fact, when I talked to John off air last week, he goes, was it so-and-so you're talking about? I'm like, no, it was somebody else. the guy that got the job, Rob's son Trent, that is leaving Hauser after 4 years and making the semi-state after the last 2 seasons. Taking over for Zach Hahn as the rise ball fools Clowers, and there's 2 down. Well,
Yeah.
best of luck to CM4, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. The CM moniker goes with the Coach Moorheads. My dad, Gus Moorhead, was the original Coach Moorhead, Indiana Basketball Hall of Famer. I'm Coach Moorhead number 2, and then older son Brad, Coach Moorhead number 3, is the head coach at South Dearborn right now. And then Trent, as Greg said, has been at Hauser, had a nice 4-year run there, and what an opportunity now at Center Grove, and we couldn't be more proud of him.
That misses. Now, I've had the pleasure of meeting 4 CMs in my life. You, your 2 sons, and Newton. Those are the CMs that I know. Former Vanderbilt and Alabama Kentucky AD, CM
I
Newton.
love it.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
So 2, 3, 4.
It took
and
me a
Newton.
minute, Rake. I'm a little slow on the uptake here
You've
tonight.
had a long day. I had to explain the joke to you. Want to know the count. And that
got Todd Listerman right in the face mask. He's going to have to walk that one off for a second.
immediately, catcher goes, "You okay?" And he just nods, "I'm fine."
Nah, but it's bittersweet. Trent was treated so well at Hauser and had a great run there. It's great administration, great basketball community. But when an opportunity like Center Grove comes around, and if this is what you want to do, and Trent is very driven, and he said, "I want to be where the best are. I want to be coaching with the best." And he's certainly going to get his wish on that, Greg, as the MIC Conference is that's a powerhouse.
Swing and a miss. 1-2 the count.
Carmel, Ben Davis, Lawrence
and with
Central,
Carmel and
Lawrence
Center Grove
North.
going back into the league after being out for the last 4 years. So, yeah.
Pike.
Yeah.
Just one after the other. It's a meat grinder. But as you and I talked on the phone, that also helps prepare you for the postseason in a sectional there that Center Grove hosts that, one, they can be very competitive in each year.
That is the open group of the Indianapolis area in 4A. Decatur Central won that and made the semi-state for the first time in program history this year. Bell tie strike. Elena Titkemeyer has struck out 10 of the 12 batters she has faced. And South Ripley has yet to have a batter reach tonight through 4 innings in Versailles. 7-0 Shiners. You're watching on ISC.
At South Ripley, our people, I think, are what set us apart. They're kind, they're caring, they're compassionate, they're empathetic. They are going to do everything they can to remove any possible obstacles to allow students to learn to the best of their ability, and I believe that's what we're all about.
When we received STEM certification, we had the highest score on the rubric ever, only to be topped by our junior high. So we had the 2 highest scores in the state for STEM certification, and that all comes from the teachers. The teachers are the boots on the ground. They have the best interests of our students in mind, and they work tirelessly to create those pathways for our kids to be successful.
It's really nice being here in a small community. Some people might disagree and say, oh, big communities are better, there's more to do, but I really truly believe that small communities are better.
It's always a great day to be a Raider.
You know, my partner earlier in off-air had complimented the musical selections of the DJ, and I would agree, but it has reached its apex with Pitbull now playing in the background. Big fan, I know you are. 7-0 to the top of the 5th we go. Greg Rakestraw, Rob Moorhead with you. Again, as you can tell, the identifier, sometimes put it on the graphic. Now we just shoot center field. South Ripley High School. And that windscreen got finished at about 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Rake, it was crazy. And we had looked, Kenny Pope had taken charge of getting that, and it came in 14 sections and had to lay the sections out. And as we're laying them out, we realized, Rake, we've got more windscreen than we got fence. And ended up only needing 13 of the sections, so we have a section left. And there was some serious math going on to figure out how long each section was, how many of the sections we were going to need, how much area we were really covering on that fence. And it was all hands on deck doing some math problems out there. So we should have just gone into the junior high and got some of those kids to come out here, and they'd have figured it out for us right away.
So now the question is, where is section 14? Where does this end up?
It's going to, you know what, I was looking, honestly, those bleachers where we saw America hitting those foul balls, the back of our track bleachers down the left field line, I think we could put section 14 right there, and it would still be a really nice advertisement. All that section has on it, Greg, is the 4 logos of the sponsors. So it has the Reds Community Fund, the Tyson Fund, and South Ripley logos. And I think that would look fantastic right there. So we'll work on it, but that's my idea here in the early going.
So walk to start the inning. I want to make sure that we note new pitcher is in the game. Lexi Bowling now is in the circle for South Ripley. And Combs goes 4 innings, and frankly, she pitched better than her numbers would indicate.
Agree completely. Yeah, she threw the ball pretty well. Had some fielding miscues behind her at times, but she threw the ball pretty well.
7 runs on all of those earned. Shortstop will step on the bag, and in this sport, it is a lot more difficult to turn to. Job done by getting the lead runner, and there's 1 down. Bowling has been the most frequent pitcher this year. This is her 8th appearance. She has thrown 21 2/3. She's walked 41, struck out 23.
And that's
She's
Zoe.
0-4.
I'm sorry, Greg. That's Zoe Clowers, who's moved over to shortstop. Made a nice play on that ball.
Pinch hitter going to come in here. It's like Alyssa Walcott's going to get the at-bat, and Rodriguez's spot in the lineup.
Now batting for the Shiners will be number 18, Alyssa Walcott.
Rodriguez ended up reaching on an error last time, even though she hit it hard. Rodriguez actually had not had a base hit this year. So Walcott gets the nod here. And that one hit the bull. Scampering into second. You got that one, you got more quickly. Miller down to second.
That's because I just watched that movie again over the weekend. Bull Durham is one of my all-time favorites.
And for our young fans watching, you're too young to watch that.
That's a classic.
But for those that are stuck listening in the ISC, I usually work that in once a broadcast normally.
There is a favorite part of that movie for me when the catcher gets kicked out of the ball game, and I probably don't need to say a whole lot more. Kevin Costner's character gets ejected from the contest for uttering a phrase you just can't say to an umpire.
No. That misses. The count now 3-1.
That was one of my dad's all-time favorite movies. He talked more about that movie, just every scene he could describe to you, and just loved that.
That misses, and catcher didn't make the grab. Runner frankly could have advanced from second, but didn't. Now there's runners at second and first.
I think that's a show of good sportsmanship on Rising Sun's part with a 7-0 lead here. Morris did not break for third on that one.
You know, a lot of times it's almost viewed as okay, understanding like once you get to the run rule, that's where you try to, turn it down a little bit. And again, you've also got the top of the lineup rolling up through here as well.
Yeah, and it could be as much that as well, Greg.
Here's Courtney.
Don't run, and not that there was going to be an out, but you don't want to run into the first out of the inning or second out of the inning at third base.
That one high, and both runners will advance.
Yeah, Bowling's just having a little trouble getting that ball down. Her release point's just a little bit late, and the ball's ending up high. Making Linville work back there behind the plate.
That misses. And Rising Sun trying to get to 10 and then trying to end it in 5 if they can. College run rule is 8. High school it's 10. This one lifted foul. And the count 2-1.
Rick, I was talking about the work we did on this field back in 2020. I think I ever finished that story. We were hustling to get this thing done. The dugouts, the concrete, the bleachers, have everything ready to go. And next thing you know, COVID hit.
It intervenes.
And we didn't get to play any baseball on the field that first year. So had plenty of time to get things ready for the 2021 season.
We can tell the road trip story if you want to about ISC, as that one hopped to home plate and the base is now full. I believe, if not you, at least the technical crew, were on their way to the Hatchet House in Washington. When at the time when our friends, now Great Plains, what was ETC back in the day, and God rest his soul, Mike Flutterman and Aaron Black, I know, was watching our broadcast tonight from Colorado. Those guys were on their way to Washington to get set up for the region the next day when the tournament was officially bagged on the Friday at that point, at least postponed, and then eventually was canceled from a boys basketball standpoint.
I was scheduled to be on the call of that tournament, Rake, and was really looking for that. You had Batesville going down there, I believe Washington, Silver Creek, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And I can't remember. It was going to be
Heritage Hills.
Yeah, Heritage Hills. It was
Yeah.
going to be that maybe the strongest regional in the state of Indiana.
Correct.
Would have been just some fantastic basketball, but
Well, it was you and an award-winning broadcaster that were set to go down there, correct?
my guy Chuck Thomas, and that he is an award-winning broadcaster. Nice pitch.
Swing and a miss. America misses that one. There's 2 down.
That's a good strikeout for bowling.
Yes, it is.
America's a nice hitter.
Yeah, America had doubled twice and reached all 3 times. So now Works to the plate. There are 2 down in the inning. So bases loaded, but South Ripley a chance to get out of the jam. Top of the zone for a strike. Works has had some impressive foul balls, but yet to have a base hit.
Looks like bowling and the umpire. Bowling's getting a little instruction from the umpire here.
So I think they're going to rescind what was the strike and say that was an illegal pitch. So 1-0 the count. Hop to home plate.
Bowling's got some pretty decent giddy up on her fastball, Greg.
Just a matter of locating it.
It sure is. That's what she struggled with here this inning.
That, not a foul tip, just swung on and missed, but again, no advance and runner at third.
It is such a difference. You mentioned it earlier, but even though there is so much more room behind home plate to the padded back wall, that ball gets back quickly as opposed to what you see is it's going to walk a run in, I believe.
No, it's 3-1.
Oh, she says it hit her.
And she's to get back to the bag, yep. That's a live ball. Runners, Works just kind of got lost in the count.
Yeah, I think she thinks it hit her, Greg. She was pointing down at her foot.
Yep.
Like that ball hit her. Maybe she'll tap her helmet and they'll go to the replay.
No ABS tonight. Count at 3-1. No challenges either. Swing and a miss. So, I don't think it hit her. I don't. We showed you the replay, and I think that hit before it got to her foot and not close to the zone. So that is a bases loaded walk. Narrabody will get to advance 60 feet. Works gets credit for an RBI without having to make a swing.
Now batting, the pitcher, Elena.
Good job by Works to lay off that rise ball there for ball 4.
Let's see how much longer Titkemeyer wants to pitch. Swings and misses there. And you know she's at least got the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, you put one in the gap here.
Ball
Get
gets
that
away.
10-run lead.
And no further advance. Runs now in 4 of the 5 innings so far for Rising Sun.
They've had a couple opportunities on pass balls that they haven't taken advantage of. But we talked over on the Ohio Rod Field with the chain link fence and backstop. That ball hits the backstop, it typically just dies right there, where here you're getting quite a bounce off of that pad.
And they made it out at home and made it out at third as well. So probably a little shy about that. That one will rattle the cage in the dugout. And it's 2 strikes. Titkemeyer is yet to have a base hit. In fact, Rising Sun has done this with all of 5 base hits so far in this game. Some walks and some errors have certainly helped.
Indeed, that's been part of the issue.
Popped up. Third baseman coming over. Has it, and that's the end of the inning. We'll get at least to the 6th in this one. To the home half of the 5th we go. 8-0, Rising Sun in front. As you're watching on the ISC Sports Network.
The goal isn't graduation day. It's a better everyday after. It's the first day in your new career. Your first pay raise. The 5th day of that week-long vacation. It's the first paid holiday home with your family, or the day of your last car loan payment, much sooner than you thought. At Ivy Tech Community College, we don't just care about your degree, we care about your life. Let's get started at ivytech.edu.
Forrest G. Waters Field at St. Elizabeth Ballpark. Rechristened as such officially today. The baseball team had played a couple of games here already. Softball, this is the first night they have played here.
Yeah, it looks beautiful at night here, and the camera shots the crew is getting are just incredible. You see a great picture right there, the James H. Tyson signature down the first baseline, and proud to have that adorning the field here. And you can see great views of the windscreen in the outfield on the outfield fence, and the logos of the sponsored organizations. Just really, really impressive what's been put together here.
Commemorative digital downloads are available when you log on to the ISCSportsNetwork.com. This game will live in perpetuity at ISCSportsNetwork.com, as well as YouTube and Twitter. I think it's got some positional changes for Rising Sun, but Ticklemeyer will stay in the circle as batters 4, 5, and 6. Lorem, Bowling, and Jordan coming up this way.
There's a shot of that, the logos out there, and that Tyson Fund logo. You heard Bob Meyer talk about during the baseball game the Tyson Methodist Church, the Tyson Gym, and also the Tyson Library. And that logo, Ryan Lauber, our elementary principal I talked to you about earlier, who's such a tech guru, took pictures of those facilities, popped it into ChatGPT, and came up with that logo, and shared that with the Tyson people, and they loved it. And that logo now is on the windscreen. It is also behind there on the back side of the press box. It'll be viewed from the parking lot, and just really a sharp-looking logo for the Tyson Fund now.
Foul tip back in the mid, 0-2 the count.
It's just a little way that we can give something back to them for all they've done for us, and Ryan did a great job. And ChatGPT, that AI, is something to keep your eye on there, Rake.
Liner, and that to first base, and that is the first base runner and the first base hit. And in both the baseball and softball games, South Ripley breaks up a perfect game and a no-hitter in the 5th inning.
There you have it. Nice job by Lorem staying with that one, going with the pitch and taking it into right field.
So leadoff batter aboard. Here's Bowling. Look towards the armband to signal it in.
Greg, I believe you all are covering the HBCA All-Star game on Sunday afternoon, are you not?
Featuring Kyra Neer of South Ripley.
Yes, sir. Kai had a career.
Ball bunted. First baseman's got it. Throws over to Oatman covering. That's just one of 3 outs in the field of play in today's game, and 2 of them have been of that variety. A bunt to the second baseman covering, 1 down. Lorem does move over to second base, 1 away. Yeah, Micah Norman representing Milan on the boys' side. Trying to think of all, and then I know you're not far from Madison here. Their all-time leading scorer is playing in the game, and I think one of the players from Shaw is also playing in the girls' game for the HBCA.
That would make sense, yes. They had a fantastic girls basketball player at Shaw this past year.
I believe both Shaw and Madison had players set their all-time scoring records this year. Davis is the young lady from Madison. The player from Shaw is escaping me as we speak.
Me as well, Greg. I'm trying to sit here and think of it. I'm not coming
Luckily,
up
I have the rosters right in front of me. That's a swing and a miss. That'd be Audrey Barron of the Hilltoppers.
As always, well, I say as always. Last year you and I did it in Columbus, but this year it's back down in Southwest. There's another base
Liner,
hit. Nope,
but
line out.
Caught. If they throw the ball back to second, that's the end of the inning.
It sure is.
So through 5, Tickemeyer has still faced the minimum, even though she gave up her first base hit of the night. 8-0, Rising Sun to the top of the 6th we go, as you're watching on the ISC Sports Network.
At South Ripley, our people, I think, are what set us apart. They're kind, they're caring, they're compassionate, they're empathetic. They are going to do everything they can to remove any possible obstacles to allow students to learn to the best of their ability, and I believe that's what we're all about.
When we received STEM certification, we had the highest score on the rubric ever, only to be topped by our junior high. So we had the 2 highest scores in the state for STEM certification, and that all comes from the teachers. The teachers are the boots on the ground. They have the best interests of our students in mind, and they work tirelessly to create those pathways for our kids to be successful.
It's really nice being here in a small community. Some people might disagree and say, oh, big communities are better, there's more to do, but I really truly believe that small communities are better.
It's always a great day to be a Raider.
Batters 5, 6, and 7. These stands were completely full about 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock today for the field dedication ceremonies and the boys game that had a first pitch about 5:20 or so is when that game got going. Greg Rakestraw, Rob Moorhead with you. The official opening day of Forrest G. Waters Field at St. Elizabeth Ballpark. And this is one of 4 high school fields that have been fully renovated by the Reds Community Fund over the last, say, 6 or 7 years. 2 in Cincinnati proper, 1 in Northern Kentucky, and now the first of its kind in southeastern Indiana.
Yeah, they like to do one every other year, so it'll be another couple of years before the next one rolls around. But I know from going through the process, the planning and things will start for that right away, Greg.
Legal pitch was called again, so
I think she's leaving the pitching rubber. You notice when she steps back, that plant foot on the rubber sometimes is coming up off, and I don't think that's allowed.
Count at 1-1. Erickson chased the ball out of the zone. He got 1 base hit and 3 plate appearances tonight. Count at 1-2. That's going to be a pinch hitter here in her spot. Instead of Erickson, 1 of 3 available reserves tonight for Rising Sun. That is Harlow, the freshman, at the plate. And puts a charge into this one that will drop for a base hit. Harlow had come in 1 for 3, her second base hit. Congratulations to Hillary on getting the base knock, and there's a leadoff runner aboard.
Now batting the second baseman, Emily Oatman.
Just went with that pitch and sent it out to right field.
She sure did. Stayed right with it, and a nice little base knock there.
Here's Oatman.
See a freshman there getting a base hit in a varsity softball game. Not that that's necessarily newsworthy, but it is nice to see when a freshman comes in and makes a contribution.
And for a strike. Turns on this one. Left fielder coming in and couldn't make the plate and deemed to be in fair territory. So that is a base hit. Ball was dropped right as the left fielder got to the line.
Yeah, Taylor Jordan out there had a long run for that one, Greg. Just couldn't pull it in. And the fact that she was in fair territory makes it a fair ball.
First baseman, Avery Elliott.
Right atop the line.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 on and nobody out. And that one smacked through by Elliott. We'll give the run of the wave around from third. Throw goes home. Runners kind of caught in between, and both will eventually go back to their bags. Make it 9-0.
That was some great contact by Elliott that time. Here you're going to see it.
Now batting
She
the
just sent that one right back up the box into center field.
And Rising Sun has scored now in 5 of 6 innings so far. And here's Morris. Count at 1-0.
Rising Sun did not get the memo today, Greg, that
No.
we were celebrating all things South Ripley here tonight.
You may need to consult with your friends at Taylor University about who to schedule on silent night.
That's
right. Always make sure. You're that school, you say, hey, this is great. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to go well for you.
Yep.
Wild pitch in the dirt, and runners advance to second and third. Time is called.
As we said, knew this was going to be tough. Rising Sun, both baseball and softball, they've just got solid programs year in, year out. Very competitive. Some of the Raider girls looking into the dugout. I don't know if we've got a... The door is opening up, and Coach Swinney's going to make her way out to the circle.
So Morris again awaits is at the batter's box, has a 2-0 count in her favor.
What's next for you, Rake, on the broadcast list? You said
So we've got
tomorrow?
a Marion doubleheader against Taylor tomorrow. Those are 2 top 25 teams, and Taylor is ranked number 1 in NAI baseball. Then kind of a surprise unscheduled Friday off for me. Had a couple of plans change on Friday. Indy 11 on Saturday night. And then Sunday I will have, from the Linder Family Tennis Center not far from here in Mason, the Horizon League Tennis Championships on ESPN+.
Is that right?
Correct.
Very good. You're a former tennis player back in the day as well. Did you play in college?
I did. Played at the University of Indianapolis. Meeting is over inside of the circle. I still play the sport, not very well, but I still play it.
Yeah.
Had to have a match on Saturday morning, in fact.
Is that right?
I do.
Where do you play, Greg?
So I'm playing at West Indy Racket Club. I play in the Industrial League, a league that goes back over 80 years, and my team is playing for the team championship on Saturday morning.
How about that?
Yeah.
You play singles, you play doubles?
I'm going to play singles on Saturday, which is concerning. Because normally I play doubles. Last match of the season, so we're a little short on people.
I gotcha.
Even though the stakes are very high for the Industrial League Championship coming up. And that should be ball 4, I believe. Yep.
That'll load them up.
So Morris reaches the first base bag.
Raiders struggling here in the top of the 6th.
Now batting the third
1
baseman,
run already
Melissa.
in, bases loaded, and nobody out.
Here's Rodriguez. I had a player hitting in this spot earlier, but she has returned. She is the third baseman. She made solid contact with the shortstop. It ended up being recorded as an error, but did score back in the third. Looking for her first base hit of the year. Again, if Rising Sun gets to 10, South Ripley would have the chance to bat in the bottom half of the inning. Solid contact, and that's over the head of the right fielder. That likely will clear the bases. Rodriguez is kind of waiting for the player in front of her to go. She'll have a double. 2 runners score, and that does make it 11.
Yeah, one of the hardest hit balls we've seen tonight. Completely over the head of the right fielder. 1 hop, and it hit that temporary fence out there.
Rodriguez does get her second and third runs batted into the year.
Center fielder, Lily Courtney.
It's Bellinger out in right field that able to track that down.
Still nobody out for the Rising Sun Shiners.
That's Courtney. So this marks the 5th trip through the lineup for Rising Sun. They have 3 available subs. They have used 2 of them. Both teams have 10 in the lineup because of the flex player. South Ripley had 11 players officially listed for today's game, and they have played all of them. Good job by the catcher to snag that one.
Yeah, Linville's made some nice plays back there tonight. She moves well behind the plate, able to move left, move right. She made a couple nice plays, catching balls coming off of that pad in the back.
Ground ball. Second baseman Makes the play at first. Run does score. First out of the inning. Give Courtney an RBI, and it's 12-0.
Kelly Lorem on that play at second base for South Ripley.
Out number 1, now batting 4.
So again, this was America's spot, but another reserve will come in here for Rising Sun. This is Dayline, the freshman. Did not have a hit this year, has 2 runs scored in 3 official at-bats. Ava has played in 4 games this year for the Shiners.
This is freshman versus freshman here. Is Lexi Bowling on the mound, also a freshman.
And this goes foul. And good on the coaching staff to make sure everybody gets a chance to play on a night like this.
Absolutely.
That hits off the umpire. Good read by the runner at third base to recognize that and make it a 5-run inning here for Rising Sun. They're most of the night. And the 13 runs, they have tied their most in a game this season. And that allowed the infielders to back up with base paths clear.
Todd Listerman may need a good soak tonight, Greg. He's taken a few off of the one off the face mask, couple off the shin guard.
Popped up. First baseman drops it. So an error. Third of those for South Ripley tonight.
Yeah, just popped right out of the glove there for Emma Height. Lexi Bowling trying to catch her breath there and try to find a way to get a couple more outs here in this 6th inning.
Ball to the backstop. Late break to go and advancing on to second base.
Yeah, Darlene kind of looked back to the first base coach like, you want me to go or not go? She went ahead and took it, I think, kind of on her own.
And Works is just unable to time one out yet.
She's been ahead all night long, hasn't she?
Yep.
But, man, she makes some good contact.
Good job to snag that one by Linville.
Talked about that HBCA game, Rake. I think Trent was District Coach of the Year. He'll be coaching in that boys All-Star game on Sunday.
So 2 strikes.
He and Sevy Beach coached that game last year at Columbus that you and I did on the ISC Sports Network.
That was my first time in the Stearman gym.
Is that right?
Was doing that game. It's one of those that I had just missed.
Classic gym. I love that Columbus North facility.
Strike call. There's 2 down. Rising Sun will host their softball sectional. Crothersville, Hauser, JCD, Milan,
Now batting the pitcher,
Oldenburg Academy, Rising Sun, and Trinity Lutheran make up that sectional. And again, you get some variation in terms of who's in what sectional. Throw over to first, and that is the end of the inning. But Raiders know their work is cut out for them. They've got to score 4 to keep the game going to the bottom half of the 6th inning. We'll come back with that in a matter of moments as you're watching on ISC.
The goal isn't graduation day. It's a better every day after. It's the first day in your new career, your first pay raise, the 5th day of that week-long vacation. It's the first paid holiday home with your family, or the day of your last car loan payment, much sooner than you thought. At Ivy Tech Community College, we don't just care about your degree, we care about your life. Let's get started at ivytech.edu.
I want to take this chance to once again thank our great ISC Sports Network crew for the work they have done this afternoon and this evening. Thanks to Vince Morales, Matt Badiato, Matthew Stein, Charlie Hemming, Elijah Mash, Eldon Wheeler, Dalton Cox, and Greg Sharton. It's been our privilege to be here for this historic day. Scoreboard didn't read the right way for the Raiders today, but Today was a win for the Raiders, regardless of the outcome of these two games.
Appreciate that, Rick. A win for the community for sure. And yeah, you feel bad for the kids that the games didn't go their way today, but the long-term success of South Ripley baseball and softball, this has been a win with this facility that's going to serve this community so well for years to come.
Maston, Mellinger, and Collins, the trio do up 7, 8, and 9 for South Ripley.
So, Rake, if I'm not mistaken, based on what you said at the end of the bottom of the fifth, this will be the 16th, 17th, and 18th batters to step to the play here.
She has faced the minimum, allowed a single last inning, but winner was doubled off. So no perfect game, no no-hitter, but obviously a shutout still in the mix.
And she is bringing it still.
And she has struck out 10 of the 15 batters she has faced. This one lifted foul.
That's a great view from that center field camera watching Titkemeyer throw. Fantastic form as a softball pitcher.
You get to take it easy tomorrow, or are you?
I'm heading to Indy tomorrow during the afternoon. Got a couple of meetings up there, one during the afternoon and then one tomorrow evening. So it's right back to the grind tomorrow.
So I haven't gotten to this yet. My partner, when he's not, running a school corporation or broadcasting games for us or the IHSAA Champions Network at WRBI, he is the president of the Indiana Association of Public School Superintendents.
That is correct, Greg. Took over that position in June.
And there's one away.
And we'll give that up coming up this June, but it has been a fantastic year.
Just a one-year term?
It's a one-year term. Been a fantastic year as president of the organization. It's a organization, Greg, the way they run that, you get elected to the treasurer spot, and then once you hit that, you rotate through the offices. So it's, although 1 year as president, it's a 6-year commitment as you go through treasurer, secretary, vice president, president-elect, president, and then past president. So I will still serve in the role of past president for next year. But, yeah, been truly a lot of fun to do that. And, anytime I get the opportunity to represent South Ripley at the state level, definitely want to take that opportunity, and just made so many great connections through that role.
Bellinger 3 for 16 on the season, her first plate appearance of the game. It's in for a strike, 1-2 the count.
Yeah, Titkemeyer hadn't lost anything here after what she put up in the first 5 innings. She's still bringing it here in the 6th.
Strike called. And South Ripley down to a final batter. Layla Collins, the DP, will come to the plate.
Yeah, Greg, I'm going to be interested to follow these ORVC reports throughout the remainder of the year and just watch how Titkemeyer does. We get those reports once a week on the leaders from the various teams throughout the conference and all the different sports. And that softball report, she's going to be all over that moving forward. Just last week, 13 innings pitched, 11 runs, 9 earned, 19 strikeouts, going 1-1 last week.
I'm going to assume most of those runs came against Milan, and that 11-7 win would be my guess.
That would be 2 really good teams going up against one another.
And Milan won the sectional last year, already winning the first game of this season, was Rising Sun 11-7. By the way, the softball pairing show is next weekend.
Can't be already, man.
So they're always, softball and baseball are always early to avoid Mother's Day and to set schedules for graduations.
Okay, I gotcha. That makes sense then.
Count it 0-2.
They just do the draw early.
Correct.
I assume you will be hosting that show?
You assume correctly.
Who joins you for that one, Rake?
De La Soul. Me, myself, and I.
Ah. I was getting ready to say I'm not familiar with that person. De La Soul.
Mm-hmm.
Give a little shout out to Kyle Nedenreep. Thought he did a nice job with you on the boys and girls basketball sectional pairing show this year.
Strike 3 called, and that is that. In fitting fashion, Titkemeyer strikes out the side. She strikes out 13 of the 18 batters she faces. Final score 13-0 and 6 in favor of the Shiners. Rob, your final thoughts on a really cool day here in Versailles.
It has been, and just truly proud of our community, the way they stepped up to bring this facility together, the way they showed out today to support our student athletes and to be a part of our field dedication ceremony. Greg, I'm always proud to be the superintendent at South Ripley, but today is one of those special days that will go down in my memory for a long time as one of the greatest days I've had in my career here at South Ripley. And having you guys here with ISC Sports Network and the opportunity for me to join you on the call really made it that much more special. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate you.
Thanks, buddy. For Rob Moorhead and our entire ISC Sports Network crew, this is Greg Rakestraw. Rising Sun sweeps the doubleheader. 6-2 in baseball, 13-0 in softball. Thanks for joining us wherever you might have been watching from tonight. Thanks for joining us from Forest G. Waters Field at St. Elizabeth Ballpark. From South Ripley High School on the ISC Sports Network.